The Old Leper. Like all children do, the children of Old Town told stories about the old woman who lived on the wrong side of town. They told stories of how she cast spells and howled at the moon, how she had secret graves of those she had killed, and how she ate babies. The truth was she simply had leprosy and could not go outside, and as the years passed, she had become a bit eccentric, her only friends being the 32 cats in her house and all. One day, the twins Liam and Melody decided they would visit the old lady, and they would torment her for her evil deeds. They snuck down the long driveway, making sure to turn on their cell phones so that if anything happened, someone would find them. Then, they hid very carefully so they were not seen, and when they got the chance, set a bag of smelly things on fire and set it on her porch. The twins then ran to the bushes to hide and laughed with glee when the old lady came screaming onto the porch and stomped the bag, getting smelly things all over herself. She grumbled, and the children laughed, thinking up their next bit of mischief. "I know," Liam said. "We can leave some fudge for the old lady," mixing a bit of chocolax in there to give her a surprise. Liam and Melody went to town, bought some fudge and chocolax and mixed them together and left them for the old lady on her porch. They rang her doorbell and again they hid in the bushes until the old lady eventually came out. At first she was cautious, but then smiled, saying, "Well, isn't this a nice gesture? I've always loved fudge." The children laughed as the old lady began eating the fudge. They had to be patient, but it was not long before moans of pain came from the old lady's house. "Serves her right," said Melody, and Liam agreed. "But I think we need to do something more. It seems she really likes the cats, so we should do something with the cats to even the score." Liam caught a big black cat and carried him by a scruff. "What are you going to do?" asked Melody. "I'm going to even the score," Liam said, and he knocked on the old lady's door, and when the old lady saw him with the cat, he started to run. He ran and ran down the driveway all the way to the pond across the road. The old lady ran after him, and she was faster than he had expected, catching the cat just as it left the boy's hands as he was throwing him into the pond. "You wicked child! You and your sister left that flaming poop and that laxative fudge, and you were going to kill one of my cats. What have I ever done to you?" she yelled at the child. The twins were very scared, and at this time a policeman happened to drive by, and seeing the old lady and the frightened children, the policeman turned on his siren. "How dare you, you old hag! I always knew we'd catch you doing something evil." And with that, the policeman arrested the old lady and took her to jail. Old Town was a small town, and it wasn't long before everyone knew just what had happened, and there was a crowd outside the jail asking for the old lady's head. "She tormented our children," said one. "We all know she's a witch," said another. The twins, Liam and Melody, smiled at each other. Their plan had not gone as expected. It had actually gone better. Luckily for the old lady, just as the crowd was about to enter the jail and take justice into their own hands, the sheriff showed up. "Let's all go home," he yelled into the crowd. "I don't like it, same as you, but we do need to give this old witch a fair trial." The people grumbled, but fearing citations and fines, they all went home. A few days later, the people cheered for her head again as her trial began. The old lady told her side of the story, that she was simply an old recluse and that the sun hurt her skin. The children told their story, which they made up. They said they were simply walking down the street when the old lady accosted them. The people demanded the old lady's head, but the lawyers insisted on more evidence. In the old lady's house, they found the bag of smelly things and the rest of the chocolax fudge that the children had left. They didn't find any bodies or anything evil. In the end, they all had to conclude that the stories about the evilness of the lady's ways were simply fairy tales the people had told and had grown over time. "I know what we should do. We should throw tomatoes at the kids," the people yelled. The lawyer seemed to think this was a good idea since the kids were the ones who did the evil things, and the kids were then tied up on a stage and the old lady was handed tomatoes. The old lady grabbed a tomato, and she thought pretty hard about it, but could not bring herself to throw the tomato at the children. What good would it do to throw tomatoes at the children? If anyone, I should throw the tomatoes at you adults, who should have known better, who should have known that these stories were not true. But you continued, you perpetuated the lies. She put the tomato down, and she walked home. No one bothered her or saw her ever again after that day.